Alrighty, Spoon Daisy TV coming at you. This is going to be part 2 of yesterday's talk on planned obsolescence of manufactured goods and transgender rights as being separate from women's rights, and the recognition of women as separate from transgender persons who, I love and respect and care very much about. Having one friend, Jen's transgender friend, who, fuck yeah, she's awesome. And first thing I want to say about that is we have laws to prevent hateful speech and violence against every person, especially, and it's a special case when people are in a minority position that's been historically subjected to abuse and oppression. But it's just polite, if I used the example in a Facebook post the other day, if a child pretending to be a frog or a rabbit or a superhero from their favourite cartoon, whoop, my doggy's out here, then you don't, you go along with it. It's like, that is their right as a child to be what they want to be in that time. And it's and it's very easy when people do adopt the every aspect of the gender that they weren't born with. It's it's very, very easy. It's probably a little bit more difficult when see some dude with a beard wearing a dress and a handbag and that's fine too. We can, I met this. Did I meet him? I think I did meet him, or her. But anyway, it was a bloke in a dress at the karaoke bar, and it was awesome. That just made my whole day, seeing that in this little country town. They got a karaoke bar, and there's this big dude with a beard wearing his crop top and skirt, and and that was just beautiful. And I hope that's anyway. It's very obvious that it's born as a man and is adopting female identity. And I don't know them well enough to refer to them on a personal level, which I do with my other friend. And I would stand up for her if anyone attacked her verbally or personally or physically, and she'd stand up for herself too. So with all her friends, so we would all jump in. But there was that incident that I witnessed where one of her friends, hurt her. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just the doesn't matter. It's so easy for us all to get hurt, and we have to be resilient in ourselves, and we can do that without the law telling us what to think, because that's a bit dangerous. That's a rabbit hole we never get out of. And anyway, so I just wanted to, I'm not sure if I cleared that up, but it's just the word politics comes, polite and politics are very closely linked, and just being polite. Just I'm doing cosplay right now, wearing my sexy white fluffy dress that it's kind of a jumper. And it's so warm. I love it. And yeah, my old girlfriend didn't like it much, but my new one says it's okay. Anyway, that's funny. Yeah, and that's enough about that. Like, and just, politeness is the social grease of society that just makes everything flow nicely. Like, yeah, someone has a different religion, has a dress differently, different customs. Sometimes there is a bit of a clash. Like in Australia, like there's signs saying don't stand on the toilet seat when you use the toilet, because in a lot of other nations where people have been coming from to Australia, then they have a hole in the floor. They don't have a toilet. What do you call that thing? The bowl. They don't have a toilet bowl with a seat on it. And so yeah, sometimes it does clash, and we have to work around that. But 99% of the time, it's just like, just be nice, just be kind, respectful. And if someone's not being kind, respectful, like, just don't get angry, just be firm, and just let them know that that's not okay, and that further action will be taken if they don't, back off. And yeah, so we're all responsible for each other and keeping this world good. And yeah, yesterday's talk started with planned obsolescence at Throwaway Society. And yeah, I haven't seen that in any of the major party platforms in Australia, but going to be strongly suggesting that to the Sustainable Australia Party, that they add that to the policies and regulation of goods coming into Australia. And we're so lucky that, oh man, there's just all these good things in the shop, but some of it's not so good, and we do have some control over that, but we do just allow disposable shit to be bought and sold, and that's a waste of resources. It's damaging to manufacturers of quality goods. So, the free market is freedom of choice, but, are we actually free to choose if we're given a shit choice? Then that's not the kind of freedom I want. I want good choices to be available to me. And I did go into how did I get there yesterday? Yeah, talking about China and the superpowers in the world who are struggling to get along. And man, yeah, God, we're in a difficult situation here in the world, but it's easy. It's just like, hey, bury the hatchet. Like, looks, like what happened in Spain, Portugal, southern France, just yesterday, or a day ago, shows that we have to work together. You don't want to be putting all your power infrastructure underground, in an emergency situation where, solar activity is making all of our current infrastructure just not work, fail. And call my doggies back. Anyway, you don't want to be doing that in an emergency. Buddy, whoop! You want to have time to do it properly, and looks like, yeah, every household is going to need just the basics. Every business is going to need some kind of solar, battery backup. Generators are necessary, but then they burn a lot of fuel, so they're not very efficient. But if we've all got, and we can't have that many batteries either. So maybe each neighborhood needs its own little emergency. Every town, neighborhood needs a emergency power generation supply. Maybe that's just where the world's at now with, come on, buddy. With, and then that we know the suns, if you subscribe to the, what is it, the dark sun? Yeah, the, what is it, like, the having two suns, what's that called, that? Yeah, so apparently there is maybe another sun. We do binary star system. So the non-binary solar paradigm could be at an end, because apparently then we, apparently, like basically every solar system in the universe pretty much has two or more suns. It's basically rare or just non-existent for there to be a single star. So stars, like having a friend. Apparently, our bright star had a friend which went into supernova on a small scale that did not lead to it going into becoming a black hole. So it just became a dead star. So that's worth looking into. If you want to go down a rabbit hole today, check out the dead star theory. And every 13,000 years, that dead star comes back close enough to a live star and causes it to do all kinds of crazy stuff that it doesn't normally do. And that affects us because obviously we are very, very closely linked to our light. Our world survives on the warmth and radiation of the sun, as we know it. And so it looks like we might be going underground under Antarctica to survive, or otherwise, just enjoying the sunshine until it's all over. Or there's too much sunshine, we just get burned to a crisp, and it won't matter because life's good today. So let's enjoy it, and let's stop fighting wars, and let's maybe make that plan for the future, so that we might all have solar panels and be self-reliant on power, so that it doesn't matter what happens to the big power generators coming from coal and nuclear and wind and all the others, but it comes through the big national power grids of each country. And next minute, our solar panels might need to be solar shields. We might have to perform both functions, and we are just a blip in time, and on a spiritual level we just exist eternally. So I don't want to live in a dystopian world that's just collapsed. And there's a good film about that, something about the fire, and it's like post-apocalypse. It's from a book, and it's dark, and it's the darkest shit that I've ever seen, but that's so possible. And and we've seen that when societies have collapsed through war. We've seen that. It's not good. So let's hope we can avoid that. And awareness and a sharedness of everything we have is a good thing. Not wanting some stop dividing up the world into little squares that don't have any natural formation. It's just an artificial boundary that we place on everything, and we gotta be more communal. Realize that we are a social creature. And the more we share, the more we have. So, how did I get there? Yeah. Oh, and that's what I wanted to say. Like, just reusing and recycling. Like, that is our greatest strength as a species, is our adaptive ability, and we can turn all the stuff that's getting wasted, we can just reuse it and fix it. And just recently I fixed up a vehicle, a four-wheel drive ute, farm truck, and still fixing it up, but it's it's going good, and it could have just got pulled apart, and all those parts are worth reusing because it's a Toyota Land Cruiser and they are solid as a rock, so they build stuff to last. And so if you need a bit, when they do just stop, they're not worth fixing, then pull them apart and use all the parts for the other ones. And that's the world that we need to look at creating, because we did used to make things to last a very long time, and just to be fixed as many times as they need to be fixed. You just rebuild the wearing parts and off it goes again. And so we've got machines that are 100 years old and they're still working because they were just built well. So 16 minutes, okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, let's do that. Let's reuse, upcycle, recycle, all them things, and cool. All right, peace out. We'll keep that to the end. And oh yeah, that was my other little brainwave. Wouldn't it be nice, like, Egypt has played a sinister role in the destruction of Gaza by disallowing refugees to leave Gaza, even though they let everything in, all the machines of war into Gaza through those tunnels. They come from Sinai, and so that's you give them, you facilitate the war and then prevent the people from escape when hell doth rain down upon them. So and Sinai has been taken in different conflicts by Israel, and if Saudi Arabia, if Israel took it back and then gave it to the Palestinian people and said, hey, you got Saudi Arabia next door, so you guys just build your Palestinian state there, and you want to stay in Gaza, cool, but you're part of Israel. So there's everyone else living peacefully, Arabs, Muslims, Jews, Christians, everyone else in Israel is getting along really well and has a very high standard of living, and that's what the Palestinians deserve. Freedom, democratic rule, education, like actual free education, not this religious indoctrination, which is brainwashing, which we know is bad. We know that's bad. And, we're all brainwashing each other to some extent, but just knowing that is the key to intellectual freedom. So, yeah, let's make Sinai, Palestinian homeland, and they can live peacefully with all their neighbors, and Egypt can take responsibility for all the deaths in Gaza and suffering that continues by disallowing against, the Geneva Convention, the basic rules of law. That's a war crime. So Egypt should face criminal, charges. Well, where do they have? Anyway, yeah, the Egyptian government authorities need to face charges for their criminal activity against the people of Palestine. And yeah, I think the Palestinians deserve to have Sinai, been refused access to it. Let's give it to, and there's people living there under the Egyptian Authority, but hey, they can pretty closely aligned with their Palestinian neighbors, and they can be much better off under Saudi, guidance and wow, there's another nation that has a very high standard of living in, and compared to Yemen and Gaza, you could not have a bigger contrast in just general wealth, health, prosperity than Saudi Arabia and Israel. So their two nearest neighbors are so wealthy and functional. That's hard work and effort that goes into creating that. So they've got two of the wealthiest nations in the Middle East as neighbors, and Saudi Arabia has said that it opposes the influence of Iran in these different conflicts, and Yemen is one of the worst. Come on, yep. And so yeah, that's my little